Great. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And I have to say, good wherever you are. A huge welcome to Trendex Live today. Welcome, Trendex family and friends. And thank you for everyone joining us today. I hope everyone had amazing holiday season and a great start of the new year. And this is Marchi again, your old friends, enjoying your life from Abu Dhabi, UAE, a vibrant city where innovation never really sleeps. And we had an amazing winter season as well. So I'm so excited to be hosting today's AMA with all of you. Today, we'll walk through together about a recap for the solid 2025 and I'll look for the exciting 2026. Easy and enjoyable. So feel free to get comfortable and to get the journey with us today. So as we will start, before jumping, a quick reminder, 5 of the USDT going to be given away today during the AMA by Trendex. To join, simply follow Trendex underscore official and Trendex underscore Sean on X. Like, retweet, and tag straight in the pinned post. That's it. Simple and easy, like always. So please don't forget to stay connected through trendex.tech. You'll find the latest updates, releases, and ecosystem developments. All right, with that, let's get things rolling. Our guest today, as you can see, is someone many of you already know so well, but who certainly deserve a proper introduction, like always. John Sandoff of Trendex, a key strategist shaping the platform's growth, structure, and the long-term direction. And I have to say, it's one of the driving forces behind Trendex's rising standards. Sean, welcome to today's AMA. The Trendex community knows you very well already. But for those who might be here time, please give us a short intro.
Yes, perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be back again. It's been a little while since I've been on, and I hope you all have had a fantastic start to the new year. My name, of course, is Sean. I'm working with Trendex now for quite some time. It's been a fantastic 2025 for Trendex, and some of the updates and information that we have for 2026, it's really going to be fantastic. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to the questions that are coming, and I'm looking forward to telling everybody about what we're going to be looking at for 2026 as we move forward.
Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you for the intro. And once again, thank you for joining us. It's so great to have you. I just say it's been a little while. So there is a stack of questions for you today. So we won't get you
Yes.
off that easy. So let's rewind just a little bit. Trendex has been continuously upgrading and evolving. I think that's a really big two words, because that's what our core is. So it will be great to give someone, everyone a fresh and clear picture of where we are today. Who's those, already tuning in, maybe for the first time, like we said, that's why we did the intro. And of course, for our old friends and our Trendex family friends who have been with us for a very long time along the journey. So could you introduce Trendex once again from the ground? So what kind of platform are we? And what key problem we're trying to solve in the crypto market?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a great place to start for old and new, learning about Trendex. So at its core, Trendex is an intelligent signal and decision making infrastructure that brings together AI, deep in base computing power, and on-chain data. But more importantly, Trendex is built around a very specific long-term goal. It's to increase the verifiability and lasting value of judgment in the market. Today's market is not short of information. In fact, we're living in an environment where information density is extremely high and the cost of expression is extremely low. So the real scarcity is no longer information itself. What's truly scarce is judgment. Judgment that can be verified over time, judgment that can be trusted across different market cycles, and judgment that remains meaningful beyond the short-term noise. This is the core problem that Trendex is designed to address. What Trendex does, in essence, is to structure judgment as a measurable behavior. So instead of looking at isolated opinions or singular moments, our system continuously records and analyzes. It analyzes who made what kind of judgment at what specific point in time, under what market conditions, and most importantly, what actually happened afterwards. So by tracking how different signals perform across multiple market phases, Trendex builds a historical, comparable, and traceable evaluation framework for decision quality. And this allows users to move beyond surface level popularity or short term hype and instead understand which signals demonstrate long term reference value. And this process is not static. Trendex's judgment system is not a one time calculation or a snapshot score. It is a long running, continuously evolving system. So our models constantly analyze market sentiment shifts, capital flow behavior, historical performance patterns, and structural changes in the market itself. And then, based on the real world outcomes, the system dynamically adjusts signal weightings over time. So this means the system learns, and it's not from assumptions, but from results. And this is where computing power becomes a critical foundation. To support this kind of persistent, multidimensional analysis, you need more than traditional centralized computation. You need stable, scalable, and continuously available computing resources. And that's why Trendex treats computing power as a core asset on the same level as data itself. To meet this demand, we built the Owlbot distributed computing network. And some of you may have heard about us talking about Owlbot before, but Owlbot is Trendex's DeepIn-based infrastructure layer. And it's designed to provide long-term computational stability, distributed resilience, scalable support for continuous model execution. And by decentralizing computing power, we ensure that Trendex's judgment system can operate consistently across different market environments. So this distributed approach not only improves sustainability, but also reinforces the credibility of long-term signal evaluation. So if I were to summarize Trendex in one sentence, Trendex is an infrastructure that uses computing power and data to continuously run judgment models, verify signal quality over time, and help the market identify long-term value with greater clarity.
Thank you, Sean. Love the explanation. Thank you to explain everything from the ground and piece by piece for us. And you're laying out really clearly for us. Great. So I think that really helps everyone to understand Trendex well in depth, So it's not only the technical work and stack up our jargons, it's not what we're really trying to solve. That's why we're being so long in the market and we're still booming for that. So now we have got the big picture already in hand. So we got everything clear. So, and we know the core philosophy for that. So let's have a close look to the details. Today's topic is about, we look back with 2025. So as we all know, 2025 has been very important year of the whole industry. I would say it's volatile as well. But from Trendex perspective, based on that market, what were the key things you were focused on during that year? Already passed, can't believe it. So what did 2025 actually look like for Trendex behind the scenes?
Yeah, that's a great question. For Trendex, 2025 was a very clearly defined year of building. So it was about laying down foundations that could support the next several years. 2025 was the year we deliberately focused on building structure. And structure was built around three main pillars: the construction of our computing power system, the structuring of our 2B business, and the deep integration of AI capabilities with our data infrastructure. So let me just walk you through each of these. The first one is the computing power. Throughout 2025, Trendex continued to expand its distributed computing ecosystem centered around Owlbot. But this expansion was not simply about increasing the number of nodes. What mattered far more was that the way computing power participated in the system became more mature, including how it was contributed, how it was scheduled, and how it was actually used. More and more computing power began to stably participate in real workloads, such as model execution, signal analysis, long-term backtesting, and ongoing judgment evaluation. At this stage, computing power was no longer an isolated module sitting on the side. It became a living part of the system's daily operation. As the scale of computing power grew, we also started to see clear stratification and usage scenarios emerge. So, for example, different layers of computing power were allocated to high frequency computation, long-term historical analysis, strategy level model execution. And this layering allowed us to support more complex AI judgment models and higher density data processing without compromising system stability. And more importantly, it gave the entire computing ecosystem the ability to scale sustainably instead of growing in a kind of fragile or unstructured way. And then second, the business focus, 2B. In 2025, Trendex made a very deliberate and explicit decision to place its strategic focus on 2B. Today, Trendex's core service targets are no longer limited to individual end users. They now include project teams, institutional participants, quantitative trading teams, and partners working with data and strategy-driven systems. 2B is not just one of our business directions, it is the most core and most long-term value-orientated direction for Trendex. Around 2B, we gradually formed three core capability outputs: data, computing power, AI. So at the data layer, Trendex provides structured market data, behavioral data, and historical signal records. Data that partners can directly use for analysis, modeling, and strategy development. At the computing layer, our distributed computing network offers stable support for long-term computation and complex models. On top of these, the AI layer integrates both data and computing power, transforming them into actionable analysis results and judgment models that can actually be deployed. And it's very important to emphasize this. These three capabilities are not independent modules. They form a highly coordinated system. Computing power ensures the system can run continuously. Data ensures completeness, traceability, and verifiability. AI converts these foundations into usable decision support. And this integrated structure is one of the clearest strategic threads that emerged for Trendex throughout 2025. So 2025 was not about speed, it was about depth. The computing ecosystem continued to expand in a structured way. The 2B business gradually took shape, and the underlying capabilities began to form a closed loop system. So much of the work we did this year may not look extremely flashy on the surface, but it was intentionally done to prepare for scalable applications and higher level product forms in the future. In that sense, 2025 was a year of groundwork, and that groundwork is what allows Trendex to be confident about what comes next.
Thank you, Sean. That's super helpful. And honestly, it's great to hear how much real groundwork went into the system. Like I said, if you have one word which would describe 2025, extremely volatile, even just beginning of this year, we at beginning of the year, we see the Web3 market, the crypto market was going up, and then was like, end of the year was something unexpected, or let's say expected. So there's a lot of things happened last year. So I'm really glad to see, even during this critical time, this was so much effort and on the groundwork laying for the foundation, which is building solid. So a lot of what you described is about building capacity and depth. That's a hard work. It's like when you're building a skyscraper, it's spent like months or years like underground, you don't see. That's not because you want to build something really massive. So
Yeah.
I think that brings to the next question is one we see popping up all the time in the community. So looking ahead, many people actually are asking the same question. So since we talk about computing power and AI, that's a future. So how will computing power and AI actually translate into real commercial value? We talk about something really solid about, monetize for this one. So from Trendex perspective, how do you see computing power plus AI truly amplifying business value in 2026?
Yeah, and this is a great question because, of course, amplifying commercial value is extremely important. And when we talk about how computing power and AI will amplify commercial value in 2026, I'd like to explain it from the perspective of what changes. In 2025, computing power and AI mainly played the role of infrastructure building and capability validation. The focus was on whether the system was stable, whether the models could run properly, and whether the results had real reference value. By 2026, this system moves from being usable to becoming scalable in output. And it is at this stage that commercial value becomes much more apparent. The first area is the release of computing power value. As the computing ecosystem continues to expand, Trendex will be able to support higher frequency computation, longer time horizons, and more multi-dimensional calculation tasks. This means the system will no longer be limited to a single model or a single analytical perspective. Instead, it can run multiple layers of judgment logic in parallel, including market sentiment, capital behavior, signal quality, and cross-cycle strategy validation. In 2026, this type of computation will directly serve institutional level needs, such as strategy backtesting, risk assessment, and signal screening. At this point, computing power itself transitions from a cost item into a priced service capability. The second area is the upgrade of AI capabilities. In 2026, AI will no longer only assist with result analysis. It will participate more deeply in the judgment process itself, including automatically reviewing historical performance, dynamically adjusting model weights, and continuously learning from changes in the market. As training data accumulates, the accuracy and stability of AI judgment will improve significantly. As a result, Trendex will no longer output only data or indicators, but analysis conclusions that remain consistent over time. When computing power and AI form a stable synergy, the amplification of commercial value is mainly reflected in three aspects. First, the target clients expand from single point needs to system level demands. Trendex can provide modular and composable capability outputs for different types of 2B clients. Second, the delivery model shifts from one-time services to continuous services. Because computing power and AI support long-running judgment systems, they naturally form the basis for subscription and recurring payment models. And third, judgment results themselves become more reusable. A validated model or analytical logic can be repeatedly applied across different markets and different clients. So overall, the core role of computing power and AI in 2026 is not to make the system more complex, but to make more capabilities scalable, standardized, and commercializable. As the computing ecosystem matures and AI capabilities continue to improve, Trendex will be able to steadily convert its long-term accumulated judgment capabilities into externally deliverable commercial value.
Thank you, Sean. That makes a lot of sense. I know that's really something we always keep talking about is about the long term, because we have the long term value at the core for us. So especially the part you have talked about moving from one-off outputs to long-running system, same like we go back to the core for that.
Yeah.
So you have mentioned actually to be quite a few times today. So I know people are very curious about this direction, since we have this topic now. So I want to zoom in on that for a moment. So why do you believe to be, is something we talk about this year, will become Trendex's most important and most long-term growth engine?
Yeah, another great question. And it's something we've been discussing in Trendex for quite some time. And honestly, the answer is less complicated than it might sound. The reason 2B becomes Trendex's most important and most durable growth engine is largely determined by the nature of the business itself. So let me explain this from a few key angles. First, there's the demand stability. Institutional clients and professional teams have structural long-term demand for data, computing power, and AI capabilities. This demand does not disappear with market sentiment. Whether the market is bullish, bearish, or moving sideways, professional participants still need to understand risk, evaluate strategies, verify judgment quality, and these needs align very closely with the capabilities Trendex is building. So, in other words, the demand Trendex serves is not cyclical, hype-driven demand, it's structural demand. And the second point is value density. So from a value perspective, 2B clients care far more about reliability of results, continuity of systems, and long-term operational stability compared to one-off tools or short-term feature usage. Institutions are much more willing to pay for judgment systems that run consistently over time. And this makes Trendex's core offerings, computing power, data, and AI, naturally suited for ongoing service delivery models and far more conducive to predictable and sustainable revenue structures. And third is the product form and platform nature. So Trendex's core capabilities are inherently platform level capabilities. Our data computing power and AI systems are not designed for a single scenario or a single use case. They can be combined, decomposed, reconfigured to serve very different types of business needs. And the 2B model allows these capabilities to be systematically delivered rather than being locked into one specific product or one specific user experience. And this is a crucial distinction. But perhaps the most important point, 2B also creates a positive feedback loop for the entire ecosystem. Institutional clients operate at a much higher standard. As they use Trendex, they continuously raise requirements around computing efficiency, model accuracy, data structure, and integrity. And meeting these requirements forces the system to keep upgrading. And those upgrades don't stay isolated. They eventually become generalized platform capabilities that benefit the broader ecosystem as a whole. So from a long-term perspective, Trendex is not trying to chase short-term scale or temporary user spikes. Our goal is to build a judgment infrastructure that can run continuously, evolve continuously, and remain relevant across multiple market cycles. The 2B model provides the stable commercial foundation for that vision. It allows Trendex to keep investing in computing power and AI development without being overly dependent on market mood swings. So 2B is not just a phase for Trendex. It's not just a tactical pivot. It's the natural long-term growth path that emerges from our current capability structure. And that's why we believe it will remain Trendex's most important growth engine for years to come.
Thank you, Sean. That's great points. I think that's really explain why to be feels like such a natural fit for Trendex, for the coming time. And I think that's a really great direction we're shifting because we want this stable, steady market. And, not only depends, like you mentioned about the mood swings. That's what the market, especially for our Web3 about, look at the market right now. So, we heard that, and I think everyone get the picture for that. So let's get a little bit more specific and look forward, like we said, Outlook 2026. So looking ahead into this year already, could you share more about Trendex plans specifically around the computing power? Because we talked a lot last year, and since we had a teeny gap in between about the AMA, but we could focus on, hands down, hands on all the things we're doing for innovating, keeping evolving. Everyone's crazy busy every single day. So now it's a great time to share a little bit specifically around the computing power, actually a lot our audience care about.
Yeah, for sure. So when we talk about computing power planning for 2026, the direction can be summarized in 3 keywords: scalability, structure, and commercial deployment. And at the scale level, Trendex will continue expanding the Owlbot-centered distributed computing ecosystem. However, the focus will no longer be just on increasing node count. Instead, we'll prioritize quality, stability, and participation efficiency. So we plan to introduce clearer computing power tiers and task matching mechanisms, allowing different types of computing resources to participate in workloads that match their capabilities and risk profiles. This improves overall network efficiency and long-term sustainability. At the structural level, computing power will be more deeply integrated into the system's core scheduling framework. In 2026, computing power will no longer function as a passive executor. It will become a foundational resource supporting multiple business modules, including long-term model training, signal backtesting, and validation, and even institutional grade strategy analysis. With structured scheduling, usage scenarios become clearer and computing power can be packaged into standardized service capabilities. At the application level, computing power will serve 2B more directly. As the system matures, Trendex will gradually expose parts of its computing capability as external services, supporting partners with analytical workloads, module execution, customized computation tasks. So at this stage, computing power transitions from pure infrastructure to measurable, deliverable business capacity. And at the same time, synergy between computing power and AI will deepen. So computing power enables continuous AI training and execution, while AI improves scheduling efficiency and decision logic. This two-way optimization helps balance cost control and computation quality. Overall, the 2026 computing power plan is not about making things more complex. It's about making making computing power truly embedded in the business system, supporting long-term judgment, scalable services, and real commercial delivery. Once this step is computing power will no longer be just a back-end capability. It will become a clearly understood, continuously used, long-term value driver.
Thank you, Sean. That's awesome. Thank you for breaking that down for us. Because computing power is something at the backstage is super sophisticated, but you think it clearly, explained to us, and it's nice to hear about what outlook for 2026. And there's some topic we have seen a lot of excitement around lately, especially in the community chats. I know you probably will hold back your tongue about telling us about this, but can you just use like very, very like small paragraph or something and you can share with us because I'm really excited to hear about it. Is that we have heard Trendex plan actually to launch something I can't review the name, sorry everyone, but let's call it AI agent in 2026. Even I just have a little peek about that, I would get super excited. So I think everyone will be like me. So how is that progressing? I know even you can't review the whole picture, but just a tiny bit, please.
Yes, I'll try not to reveal too much. I may be in trouble with some of my Trendex colleagues if so, but this is definitely one of the most frequently asked topics recently. From a planning perspective, the AI agent will be a very important product form for Trendex in 2026. At the moment, it's in a high intensity development phase. We're running model testing, system integration, and production level preparation in parallel. The AI agent will not exist as a standalone feature. It will be deeply integrated with Trendex's existing data, computing power, and AI infrastructure. So this deep integration is also why the testing and validation cycle is relatively long. We need to ensure consistent performance across different market conditions. What we can confirm is that this direction has already entered substantive execution. So for now, what I can share is this. The AI agent is actively being built and it is accelerating. And we believe it won't take too long before everyone can experience its value directly.
That's really exciting. Thank you. Have a little peekaboo for us. I was really want to ask more, but I'm biting my tongue for that because I know hopefully next AMA or Spaceport Holding, you'll review the whole picture for us. But hope my best for that. Super excited. So I think that's give a little taste, for the people in our community, our Trendex family of friends, what you're looking for, and the best years to come. So I think that's almost to get close to end of today's space. But before we have like a little more questions should I do more. So we have like, don't remember to follow Trendex_official and Trendex_Sean so you can get upgrades. And don't forget, we do have 5 of 10 USDT giveaway today. So don't forget to pin and tweet and retweet all the posts so you can get this reward. Why not? A little, New Year lucky money. So I think this is almost the last formal question I'm going to ask you today. So we do talk about XTA actually last year a lot. So can you give us an update on XTA ecosystem applications and the future plan? And how is the development going? And what's your overall outlook for XTTA?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to share an update on XCTA and our vision moving forward. So throughout 2025, as we continue to build and expand the ecosystem, XCTA has gradually become the core token within the computing power system. Across multiple dimensions, including application value, holding mechanisms, and trading attributes, XCTA has formed a relatively complete and practically supported value structure. In various computing power scenarios, whether it's node participation, system operations, or ecosystem incentives and settlements, XTTA plays a foundational role. So to date, the actual consumption and burn of XTTA within the ecosystem has exceeded 57 million tokens, meaning more than 14% of XTTA has already been burned through real usage. And this wasn't a one-off design. It has emerged naturally as the computing power ecosystem continues to operate, reflecting XCTA's active utility in practice. The ecosystem around XCTA continues to grow. Currently, TrendX's computing power network spans over 13 countries and regions, forming a geographically distributed and long-term stable foundation. On the DeepIn SaaS platform, Owlverse, the number of computing power planets keeps increasing, with more than 20 planets already online. And the locked XTTA in the ecosystem treasury is exceeding 8 million tokens. As more computing power planets are launched, XTTA's usage scenarios and ecosystem depth will continue to expand, providing ongoing support for its long-term value. At the same time, over 50 projects and applications are now operating and collaborating around XTTA, further solidifying its role within the ecosystem. And from a structural perspective, XTTA already carries holding value, usage value, and trading value. And these are not derived from a single scenario. They are supported by multiple real operational ecosystem modules. As the ecosystem continues to grow and more participants join, XTTA's foundational position in the system will only strengthen. And looking ahead to 2026, XTTA's application scenarios will deepen and expand further. For example, the upcoming AI agent will have its key functionalities, purchasing, usage, and feature unlocks closely linked to XTTA. Additionally, we will continue to implement consumption and burn mechanisms based on real usage, further solidifying XTTA's value on a long-term and sustainable foundation. And from the team's perspective, we strongly encourage users to take a long-term view when holding XTTA. We are confident in XTTA's potential for ecosystem expansion and market value in 2026. And we will continue to invest our full effort in product development, computing power expansion, and application deployment, creating more real, sustainable value for XTTA.
Thank you, Sean. Awesome. I think that answers a lot of questions from our Trendex family friends, and most importantly, and the long-time believers. Like we keep mentioning about the long-term value, and that's what the XTTA based on for. We try to expand more usage and the scenario for XTTA, for long-term perspective, because we won't be here with everyone and with all of you. So, for a very, very long time. So that's what our calling for, and then that's what the Inspire team are for. Everyone to work hard for that, and I think that's called conviction as that the momentum. So exactly kind of preparation that keep us moving forward. That's a team spirit. So I say that's our culture as well. So and that's where our confidence and real value we deliver truly come from. So I can't believe, I always say that, and I know last year and beginning of the year, I can't believe how fast time flies. I think that's the first word I talked to you also about how time
100%.
flies, So here we are already in 2026, and here we're already almost end of today's AMA. So we almost time to say goodbye. But before we wrap up today, I would love to give you the floor. Are there any final thoughts, messages, and words you would like to share with Trendex community today and before our next AMA?
Yes, I absolutely do. I want to sincerely thank everyone who has followed, used, and supported Trendex. Whether you've provided feedback, raised tough questions, or chosen to stay with us while the product was still evolving, all of that matters deeply to us. Trendex wouldn't be where it is today without real usage scenarios and long-term feedback. I also want to thank our partners and ecosystem builders, including computing power node operators, technical teams, and the institutions exploring 2B use cases with us. It's these continuous collaborations that allow Trendex's data, computing power, and AI capabilities to move from a concept into real world deployment. We'll continue to stay open, transparent, and keep progressing, working together with the community to refine this long-term infrastructure step by step. So again, I just want to say a massive thank you.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, everyone. And there it is, the full picture. And Sean, thank you for joining us today. And you show up every year and year round with Alpha Real upgrades, institution grade insight, and enough long term vision to keep builders, our partners, and our whole community logged in. So we are indeed looking forward to how more time is you bring the fresh news and updates. Even I know extremely busy, try to get Trendex better by each day. So thank you for that. All right, Trendex family, friends, I'm tuning in from every corner of the globe. I really wonder, where are you? So maybe you can leave a note, like where are you currently right now? So what an incredible journey we had today together again. So we talk about from judgmental infrastructure to distributed computing, from AI-driven insight to B strategy. They have covered a lot. And I hope you are feeling as inspired as I am. I'm super pumped now. So the big takeaway today, Trendex is about building systems that can run reliably, evolving intelligently, and deliver real value over time. Every node, every module, every partner, and every decision is all part of a bigger picture and a compounding ecosystem that grows stronger with each step. So, to everyone joining us, thank you being part of this journey. And make sure you stay connected with Trendex for upcoming updates, feature releases, and future AMA sessions. A big shout out to all of you in the community for your energy, questions, and support. This curiosity, courage, and compounding power from all of us at Trendex. We'll see you the next chapter in the next upgrade. And most importantly, in the future, we are building together. And I truly believe for that. So until next time, stay awesome, stay inspired, and stay plugged in. Love to you all, Trendex family and friends. Bye for now. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Have a great morning, afternoon, or night. See ya. Thank you.